Good evening and a pleasant welcome to LNTV Week in Review. This is a 45-minute package of major happenings that occurred during the course of the week. It's Saturday, the 22nd day of February 2020. My name is Zokwe Beslokonen, anchoring this edition of the program LNTV Week in Review. In our headlines, President George Weah breaks grounds for the reconstruction and expansion of the 45-kilometer RRA highway project. Residents of Unification Town petition government to grant them legitimacy to the properties they occupy. Grand Bassa County lawmaker Vincent Willie warns against environmental degradation in the search and drilling of oil in Liberia. And public officials say significant progress has been made to prevent the outbreak of coronavirus in Liberia. These stories plus many other developments are all coming up in the program LNTV Week in Review. But first, let's take a short break to be back with the faces of the newsmakers. Welcome back to LNTV Week in Review. The Cabinet has been challenged to re-strategize efforts in the discharge of their duties. At the start of the third Cabinet retreat at the Ministerial Complex during the course of the week, members of the Cabinet were challenged with effective service delivery to the people. Our Executive Mansion reporter Vafli Kamara attended the retreat and now reports.
Focused and serious-minded can best describe the facial expression on cabinet ministers and heads of government agencies as they enter the conference room. With the urgent need to address the challenges at hand, this 2020, President Weah will be keen to know members of his cabinet with less stronger pro-poor agenda credentials. Among other things discussed during the deliberations were coordination in government, performance and reporting results, communication and teamwork. During his opening address, President Weah urged members of his cabinet to coordinate and do the work of the Liberian people with commitment.
Get back on the drawing board so we can address all of those issues. I want to use the occasion also to welcome to our cabinet the Minister of Agriculture. Welcome. Welcome to the cabinet, Madam VP. She's supposed to take over, right? Okay, and that can be done here. Jordan? That can be done here? After the press, right? Okay. So, member of the full state, good to see you. Again, welcome to this cabinet meeting, and I hope that our deliberation will be fruitful and cohesive.
At the end of the retreat, I caught up with Information Minister Eugene Nangbe, who admitted coordination was partly lacking among ministries and agencies during the course of last year.
We used the opportunity to discuss coordination within government, coordination with our partners, and to also look at some of the positivities that we could build on from 2019 and review some of the setbacks so that we don't make the errors again. So it was a review process by the government, and I think it was a very successful meeting.
So what was the consensus that these ministers formulate out of this retreat? This was the question I asked the Mines and Energy Minister, Jeslo Mori.
Today was a monumental achievement in terms of dialoguing and finding the synergies and understanding problems that each other have, okay? One another have. So we're very, very happy with this engagement. We know that going forward, we're going to see some big changes.
It is hoped that those lapses experienced in the past will be rectified straight away. Moving on from here, this is Vafli Kamara reporting for ELBC News.
Information Minister Eugene Nangwe says President George Weah will not take action until the investigation from the Special Presidential Task Force is completed. Recently, the President constituted a task force to investigate the shortage of petroleum products on the market. At the same time, Information Minister Eugene Nangwe has clarified issues of rice shortage on the market. He spoke during the course of the week.
From your layman perspective, it is easy to approach on blame, to determine culpability even prior to the investigation that is ongoing. That's not the proper way to proceed. So once the president has all of the information available to him, he will base his decisions using that as one of the guideposts for him to make such decisions. So people should start pushing. What his priority has always been in this particular matter has been to fix the problem, to ensure that the problem is fixed, that the long queues are there no more, that there is enough gasoline on the market. That has been the focus. While in parallel, the committee continues to work. So we are solving the problems. There is always time.
You like the issue of rice shortage?
No, absolutely not. There's no,
rice shortage?
No, not at all. Not at all. There has been a physical count, physical inventory done in recent times, and we know as a result of those physical counts that we have enough rice on the market, and there is enough in the channel being imported in the country as we speak. So that's something that's not. It's, people. There are people who want to describe them, and somebody says it's too harsh. They are messengers of doom. The prophesies negativity. That's all they do. So once they saw the crisis that we had, they look for being solved. They look for further negativity.
Amidst the regional threats of terrorism and extremism, stakeholders in the Mano River Basin have begun taking steps to promote peace and border security as well as good governance amongst others. As part of efforts, the Mano River Union and the United Nations Development Fund (UNDP) during the course of this week began a 3-day meeting to develop a 5-year strategic action plan for the 4 Mano River Union countries. But what is the importance of the meeting to the 4 MRU countries? Madam Medina Weah is the head of the MRU Secretariat.
A founding member of the Mano River Union, and to join ranks with the United Nations Development Program in all 4 member states to chart a clear path for actions and activities which will foster peace, democracy, dialogue, economic development, and good governance. Allow me to join you, the Honorable Representative of the UNDP in Liberia, to thank the UNDP Regional Director of Africa Bureau in a most profound manner for the serious attention paid to the United Nations investment in peace in our sub-region with the signing of this MOU. We are pleased that this forum is the sum total of work commenced with the UNDP resident representatives from all 4 countries meeting in the Secretariat in Freetown exactly a year ago to this day. Subsequent follow-up consultations with UN resident coordinators and the UN Special Representative of UNOAS in Abidjan, and a joint UNOAS meeting in November in Freetown, with continuous exchange on the development dialogue, has led us to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding in November of 2019.
The National Public Health Institute of Liberia has made a significant breakthrough in its efforts to prevent the outbreak of the coronavirus in the country. On Tuesday, during the course of the week, NPHL brought into Liberia some chemicals that gave the country the capacity to conduct tests for the virus. NPHL Acting Director General Dr. Musoka Fowler made the disclosure in an LNTV interview during the course of the week.
We've made some significant progress in our preparedness to either prevent or to quickly detect. Early this morning, we were able to get the reagent in country to be able to test for coronavirus. So for that's a big news. We don't have to ship sample anywhere. If we get a suspected case, we don't have to ship the samples out of the country. So that's one big breakthrough. For the last 4 days, the sample left Geneva and arrived in country. We have the capacity now to test. We have the capacity to test. We have the platform. The same platform we use to test for Ebola is called a PCR platform. What we used to test for Lassa. What we did not have was the reagent, the chemical. And so we started engaging multiple partners. We started with WHO. We went to the US CDC. We applied for the reagent. We also got invitation from Weah to send someone to Senegal for training from the 25th. So we're trying all because we realized the urgency of trying to test in country. And then through all the 3 negotiations, the one from WHO took precedence. So the team in Geneva, Switzerland, in Geneva, WHO headquarters, were able to send us the reagent by THL. And we've been tracking it. It was a long circuitous route from Geneva, Germany, Brussels, Nigeria, but it finally arrived this morning. So now, because we have the capacity and now we have the reagent, we can test. So it means that if we have a suspected case, within 24 to 48 hours, we can rule out whether it is negative or positive. That's one of the greatest achievements. But that will be followed also by someone we are sending to Senegal. One of our lab guys will go to Senegal at the Pasteur Institute to be trained from the 25th to the 27th to bring additional reagent to us. So I think we now have a multiplicity of blessings in multiple sources. US CDC is trying to send us reagent also. So we're going to have reagent, and then the capacity, the manpower is already in country that we can test.
Meanwhile, Dr. Fowler said 25 persons have been discharged from observation centers after completing 14 days without showing any sign of the coronavirus.
Yesterday, we were able to discharge 23 of our residents from our observation center, and on Sunday we did discharge 2. So we've got 25 persons who went on a 14 days observation. None of them showed some symptom or sign they were discharged. We have over 27 of them in the communities that will be discharging. We have not shown any sign that we've been following up for the past 2 weeks or more. So that's good news. All of those who came from China that we've been observing either in the community or at our center, they are all discharged and going home. We have international figures. We have 11 international figures, and the rest were our Liberian students returning from China. Also, we've gotten in contact with our colleagues in Freetown, the health security agency in Freetown, to try to coordinate the movement so that anyone coming from China that comes to our agreement will arrive in Freetown 7 will also be quarantined. And so that will discourage people who are trying to come to Freetown and take vehicle to come. We continue to get involved with risk communication as I speak to you. This morning we are meeting with the superintendent from the 15 counties to help them get understanding of the coronavirus. Learning from our experience when Ebola, this book and number one last, the local government to be able to continue to give our people awareness. We identified 39 ground crossing port of entry across the country that we start to invest in the beginning of that report, so that we are not only monitoring the airport and the seaport, but we're now going to begin monitoring all of our 39 ground crossing across the country.
Amidst the outpouring of mixed reactions regarding the allegation of beating by an EPS officer from the late broadcast journalist Zeno Miller, government has called for autopsy of the body. The government wants the family of the late Miller to hold burial proceedings and hire a pathologist to examine the body to know the cause of death. Why has the government decided to take this decision? Here is Presidential Press Secretary Solo Kegbe. He spoke during the course of the week.
We all are saddened by the death of our fallen colleague, Zenu Miller. Nobody wished for their friend to die, but when someone died, we say that's the word of God. God gave it, God took it. Our hearts, our sympathy to the bereaved family, his wife, children, and family of the OKFM. There were some insinuations that Zenu died because he alleged that he was beaten by the Executive Protection Service. There was no formal complaint submitted to our office or to the president or to the governor of Liberia. But because we saw on the post, we saw other people taking it, we took it serious. Before his demise, we called him to find out what happened. He explained what he thought happened, and we're working along with the PL president and other people to make sure that we investigate and find out whether his allegations were true. Howbeit, he's gone. And because of that, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Justice, has told his family member not to bury his body, not to take his body from the mortuary, should remain there until an independent autopsy is performed. The family will be given the chance to identify their own pathologist to perform the autopsy. Government is going to pay for it, but they will have to bring it. So the Ministry of Justice is working on that, and that's where we'll find ourselves. Probably the autopsy will lay to rest some of these insinuations we see on social media, we see other places. I think the body of the late Zenu Miller deserves to be handled properly. It should not be ridiculed like this. People should not be seeing what they are saying. This fellow, when he was alive, was very quiet, very dutiful, and I think in that direction he deserves everything. In this time, the family deserves humiliated. Nobody should be saying things they are saying. So the family will be given the chance to identify their own pathology, whether from Liberia, wherever from, to be able to perform the autopsy. The government is going to pay for it.
The National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL, says it is willing to welcome investors for the Harper Basin bid round to continue the search for hydrocarbon. Speaking at the climax of the round-table consultation of petroleum regulation, strategy and model PSC, NOCAL President through her proxy, Lester Tinney said President George Weah announced the opening of the Harper Basin bid round in April this year. He spoke during the week.
In past exploratory efforts in the Liberia Basin, we identified a working petroleum system, which is a good sign that there is hydrocarbon present offshore Liberia. We are strongly convicted at NOCAL that with the right amount of work put in this process, we will eventually make a commercial find. This is why we at NOCAL are doing all we can to change our exploration history. This is evident in the recent contract we signed with Coal Lab to improve the data of all wells previously dug. This contract will fulfill the quest for knowledge and technology transfer in this area and provide improved data sets for our prospective investors to work with when they come to explore our basin. NOCAL has also worked with TGS, our data brokers, to define clear data packages with our investor-friendly price range that will encourage companies to reach out for our data and subsequently come in for exploration. So the recent amendment to some provision of the new E&P law of 2014 placed us in a much better position for ROC to pick up our block for investment. Your support has given us a fighting chance among other nations in West Africa and around the world. We are poised to make the best of this opportunity by giving all the support to the regulator to deliver a successful 2020 license round in the Harper Basin.
Meanwhile, House of Representatives Committee Chair on Lands, Mines and Energy, Vincent Weah, has warned against environmental degradation in the process of drilling or searching for oil and gas.
One of the issues is to look at the international best practices that you will be able to look at. Because you know fully well that our basin, previous years, currently, I think, for my record, I think the basin is dormant. We don't have anybody. We don't have any operator currently in our basin. As such, we need to encourage our investors to come back. We need the super major company and the smaller companies to come back. We also like you to focus on the issue of environmental policy. Liberia is a fragile country, you know, we just returned from war. And so our environment needs to be clean as we move forward. Most of your regulations should focus on the issue of environment. We will now want, at the end of the day, as the operator operate offshore, for Liberians to start experiencing environmental issues. So all of the regulations and policy, we hope that you will put those things into place, that Liberia will be one of the best. Also, we'd like for you to look at the issue of local contents. Liberia, like the president said during his inaugural speech, that Liberians will not be spectators in their own. This will not be a turnaround, or it will not be a flip side of it, that Liberians will start being spectators. We hope that you look at the issue of local contents, that those who will be supplying other equipment, other food and whatsoever on the rig, or even as they move forward. All of these things you need to look at. Liberians cannot sit back and see their own economy in the hands of foreigners.
For his part, the House's chair on hydrocarbon, Abu Kamara, called for collaboration in the oil and gas sector.
Work coordination does make work easier. The fact when we maintain that spirit, the House of Representatives is prepared to work along with you all to ensure that the best thing be done for Liberia. Because we have had a lot of conversation around this sector. It's been there for some time. So the spirit of coordination that you all are exhibiting will help this sector to grow. And for us, at the House, be prepared to support these programs that will bring growth in our country. Because when this sector grow, what happens? Liberia will benefit. So most times that I say to people, even my colleagues, our responsibility is to support government to ensure, because we are a part of government. So every nice program that will be submitted to us, you can rest assured the House of Representatives will deliberate on it and to ensure that the right thing be done.
Well, if you have just joined us, this is a reminder that you are watching LNTV Week in Review, a 45-minute package of major happenings that occurred during the week. It's Saturday, the 22nd day of February 2020. My name is Zokwe Beslokonen, anchoring this edition of the program. Let's recap our headlines. President George Weah breaks grounds for the reconstruction and expansion of the 45-kilometer RRA highway project. Residents of Unification Town petition government to grant them legitimacy to the properties they occupy. Grand Bassa County lawmaker Vincent Weah warns against environmental degradation in the search and drilling of oil in Liberia. Public health officials say significant progress has been made to prevent the outbreak of coronavirus in Liberia. LNTV News takes a short break to be right back. Welcome back to LNTV Week in Review. Thanks for rejoining us. We continue with the program. The devastating effects left behind by the 2014 Ebola crisis to some extent taught policymakers to prepare early against disease outbreaks. The epicenter of the coronavirus is Wuhan, China, but Liberia is building a defense system against the disease. In an interview with this station Wednesday, the executive director of the National Disaster Management Agency, Henry Williams, announced a national preparedness action plan being formulated along with partners against the spread of the coronavirus in Liberia.
What we are doing now, let's say the first thing is we are putting the partners together. We have started putting, let's say we have about 75% putting the partners together, ministries, agencies, and private sector, UN agencies, etc. We have a coordination meeting, which we are holding once in a week, and all of the related partners are there. Ministry of Health, RRC, WHO, MPW, etc., etc. Before that, being the sector that is affected, the Ministry of Health, they took some initiatives which I want to commend. They started, let's say, steering the boat. They have done a very good job. And they are also in our cluster, but we are also working with them as partners. So I want to commend them for that. What we are doing now, or what we did, is that we have formed clusters. Okay. Now the clusters, for instance, we have the coordination cluster, which is headed by the NDMA. Then we have some sister ministries and agencies that are part of that cluster. For instance, we included the security to be in our cluster. With some other key ministries, okay, they are in our cluster. Then we have a cluster for shelter, and that we let the LRRC head that cluster. But now in that cluster for shelter, we have organizations like IOM will be in that cluster, Public Work will be in that cluster, National Housing Authority will be, because we're talking now about housing, okay, where to quarantine people, infrastructures, so it cannot just be one entity.
President George Weah has broken grounds for the expansion and reconstruction of the RRA-Elwha Road. Speaking Thursday in Lower Margibi County, President Weah termed the RRA-Elwha Highway as a death trap on which both Liberians and foreign nationals have lost their lives. He also said work on the expansion and reconstruction of the road is long overdue.
Fellow Liberians, you will recall that Emma State of the Nation address to the joint session of the legislature on January 28th this year. Less than a month ago, I informed that August body of the challenging state of the road leading from Rabat International Airport to Monrovia. I then informed the legislature that my government was in the final stage of concluding financial and technical arrangement for the expansion and pavement of a 45-kilometer highway from the RRA to EWA Junction, complete with appropriate safety and lightning facilities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, barely 3 weeks since my SONA address, we have gathered here today before God and men to ceremoniously break ground for the expansion and reconstruction of the Rabat International Highway. This is a great moment for me and my government, and for the Liberian people as a whole. For I strongly believe that the improvement of the RRA RIA Highway is a project of tremendous national significance. Firstly, you will agree with me that this road corridor, together with the new terminal at the airport, present the first impression of our country to those traveling to Liberia through the airport.
ECOWAS has expressed delight over the Weah-led government's commitment to promote interconnectivity of infrastructure development. Speaking at the groundbreaking of the 4-lane RIA highway reconstruction and expansion project, ECOWAS Ambassador Babatunde Ajisomo reiterated the importance of the project in reducing the fatalities experienced along that route.
Today's occasion, therefore, which is a groundbreaking ceremony, and as it is called a call to action for the dual carriageway to commence with a timeline of 36 months, it fits into ECOWAS Regional Infrastructure Master Plan, which is aimed at promoting interconnectivity of our infrastructure from road to air, here to sea, and of course also to rail. Now, the importance of this project has been well said, especially from the economic point of view. Look at the linkage to southeastern part of Liberia, that housed 3 seaports. And of course also, look at the thousands of jobs that this project will create during construction, operations, as well as maintenance. And that more importantly, is also the social and the humanitarian. We can cast our minds back to the numbers of people that have passed on this road. It is in recognition of this that we commend your administration. And it's our prayer that this project will be completed in a timely manner. It is also our prayer that the quality construction work will be done that will benefit the people of this country as well as the community citizens and those beyond. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the main road. It's so convenient from the RIA to the capital city.
A petition has been presented to President George Weah to grant legal titles to the residents of Unification Town in Margibi County. Presenting the petition to President Weah, Margibi District 2 Representative Ava Jones stressed the importance of improving the livelihood of residents of Unification Town.
Far back in 1942, as history leads us back, to tell you how Unification Town came into existence. The predecessors was able to transform and change the name, the original name of Smith Notice, but before that it had another name that I won't want to call here, to Unification Town. More to that, we have over 20,000 residents in Unification Town. And Mr. President, it will surprise you to note that of the citizens that reside in Unification Town, only 3 of the residents in Unification Town have legitimate deed to the property that they currently occupy. One of them was signed by your predecessor, Weah V.S. Stockman, in 1970. That is the Johnson's property. Another one was signed by Weah Arotaba. That is also your predecessors in 1975. The Kade Church also claims that she has a legitimate deed. Mr. President, your citizen has invoked Article 17 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia to pray you to please give them legitimacy to this land. Because the history goes far back to 1977, our people are reside here on Sparta right. And knowing the fact that Unification Town hosts the only international airport in our country, it serves as a gateway to the Republic of Liberia.
President George Weah has submitted to the Liberian Senate a bill seeking the establishment of a maritime zone for Liberia. The president said the bill was in accordance with international law and for related matters. Genevieve Masikoy is the Deputy Secretary of the Senate. She read the communication in session on Thursday.
Dear Honorable Contemporary, I am pleased to submit to your honorable body for enactment a bill titled the Included Act to Establish the Maritime Zones of the Republic of Liberia in accordance with the international law and for related matters, unquote. Honorable Contemporary, this bill seeks to establish the maritime zones of the Republic of Liberia and addresses related matters consistent with international law. It provides a legal basis for the exercise of Liberia's rights and obligations concerning maritime zones as reflected in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982, which entered into force for Liberia on 25th September 2008. The bill is significant to provide legal certainty concerning the maritime jurisdiction of Liberia and will position Liberia to exercise sovereignty, rights, and jurisdiction over significant areas of sea space. Additionally, it will also provide a foundation for the effective management of maritime resources and the development of the blue economy as part of Liberia's broader sustainable economic development. I therefore request your kind and timely consideration to enact into law this important legislation. Signed, George M. Weah, Senior.
The Liberian leader has also written the Senate requesting the extension of the conduct of the national census to March 8, 2021. Here is Madam Genevieve Masiko again with the President's communication.
Dear Honorable Contemporary, you may recall that my predecessor, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, issued a proclamation on December 21, 2016, declaring the holding of a national housing and population census of the Republic of Liberia on March 21, 2018. However, the attendant financial constraints precluded the efficient execution of the timetable of 2018 as this body, through a joint resolution LEG-004-2018, set a new date for the holding of a national census to December 8, 2019. Again, similar circumstances have prevented the conduct of the national census at that time. Liberia has now gone beyond both the nationally and internationally stipulated decennial period of every 10 years for the conduct of population and housing census, which is prerequisite to evaluating and determining the social economic needs of the population. In the midst of these challenges, the government attaches great importance to conducting census as the data to be collected will inform the formulation, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the country's development programs, as well as governance in general. LEGIS also thinks that the month of March is at the heart of the dry season, during which time road connectivity across the country is somewhat convenient for travels. Honorable.
2 facilities with a control tower are under construction in Liberia. The facilities will link the remotest parts of the country with easy communication services. Speaking briefly during the tour of the facilities, Post and Telecommunications Minister Councillor Kupakura said the government will ensure the facilities cover the entire country.
And the whole purpose of a universal access program is to reach out to the remote area as possible. And besides just calling, they will be able to also use the communication to access their mobile money, you know, and maybe money grant and all the kind of things. So we want them to benefit. We want them to feel the impact of the universal access program. So we definitely look forward to not just the 2 stations, but we like to expand. We like to reach out and cover many areas as possible. I mean, this is commendable. We like to say that the project implementation unit, I'm sure the chairperson is working hard. We'd like to congratulate you for this proof of concept, but we must note that we have not made any final commitment on the part of the government. This is a proof of concept. We hope they will satisfy all of our conditions. Once those are satisfied, then we'll get on the drawing board to make sure that a final document is prepared to create a formal commitment. But again, we want to encourage you. This is for Liberia, and let's do it for Liberia. This is not for President Weah. These are things that will stay even after he should have gone many years. But these are legacies that must remain for our people.
For his part, Liberia Telecommunications Authority's head for Government and Consumer Affairs, Israel Akinsaya, disclosed that the tower will have the capacity to connect all Liberians across the country.
The works, you know, because some of these sites you don't have rocks, you don't have sand. We have to go and source all that stuff to carry up there. We hope to do it up there, but if we can't, then we carry it from here. So the civil works and everything takes about that amount of time, and then after that you have the technical people. So we have technical people coming in tonight, and then they will be finishing up here, and then there's another group of technical people that already left to go to Telecom. As the other group is coming back to go to Apollo. So we'll be doing it like that. Hopefully, once we get all this, the 2 sites up, and after a 45-day period, and we all accept that this is, you know, what we want to do, I mean, the proof of concept, as far as it working, then we can roll out the additional 13 sites. But this capacity of this is to do up to 200 sites. It can do up to 200 underserved and unserved areas to make sure that Liberia is connected from the length and breadth of the country. So one of the things you have here, it's all solar powered. Okay, so you see there, it's a solar rack. I think about how many sheets, Dudley?
We've got 38.
38 solar sheet, and they also have the generator, their own backup generator here. With an automatic switch on it. So between the solar, the automatic, and the LEC that we borrow from LBS, a little bit. We're not much of the LBS power, but you know, just to keep the batteries going at times. But basically, so this is the outside. This is a typical outside setup too.
Speaking earlier, Kenneth Ghana General Manager Fifi Dudley Egan gives more highlights on the company's proof concept initiative in Liberia.
Dish that is going to be transmitting and communicating between Monrovia and the rural locations, remote ends. For the POC, it will be Grand Cru and Rapolo. Once the signal is brought in from there, it will be distributed onto the GSM networks from here by the radio, microwave radios, to the Monrovia city. We should be done with Bakolo within the next 14 days maximum.
Well, this is how we come to the end of the program, LNTV Week in Review. This is a 45-minute package of major happenings that made headlines during the course of the week. Many thanks to you all for your viewing role. Many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, technicians, switchers, and editors for making this package of sources. This program comes on every Saturday at 7 in the evening. On behalf of the entire television crew, my name is Zokwe Beslokonen. I've been anchoring this edition. Thanks for watching. Good night from Painesville.
At TunesLiberia.com.
National Toiletries Incorporated, Liberia-owned and reliable toiletries company